So when we do a standard breading procedure, we do product, flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs, product. So we need basically 5 pans. But before we do that, we're just going to take these and stack these. Set them over on the side, set this over on the side. It's been a long day, so we're gonna look here and see what else we got. We've not got marinara sauce heating. We got mozzarella in the fridge, I guess, and fresh basil and balsamic glaze to put on top of this rather than make it ourselves. And we'll bring out the meat and we'll take a less tender cut, and then we're gonna slice it on the bias, or slice it, pound it, tenderize it by pounding it. Once we get them all cut, then we'll go with flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs. Let it set aside. We have our straight-sided sautoirs ready to go. We'll pan fry it, and we have our sauce ready to go. We'll put it into a pan so that then we can plate it up. So we're going to use a piece of elk top round, and we're going to demonstrate pan frying technique using this top round for Venison Parmesan. So we're going to use, we can use a bottom round, the less tender cut, and pound it or tenderize it through a cuber or a jacquard. But we're just going to use this piece right here. I'm just going to peel some of this fascia off of here. You can see how it just kind of like folds off. Just see that's what makes it taste gamey. That's what makes it taste chewy. That's what makes it contort out of shape. Got a tiny bit of freezer burn off the end of here. So we're just going to trim this off. A little bit of fascia here. And then you can see the grain going this way. So we want to cut across the grain. You can see that nice piece of meat right there. And that's the grain going this way. So we're going to take this, and I'm just going to slice a couple pieces off of here. Trim that up a little bit. This has got some connective tissue back here. This we'll use in our stew. So we push the meat in to where the knife is, push it forward, and then I'm going to just cut a nice cutlet off of there. We could have taken it off the other side, but I wanted to come from this side just to see how this knife would cut, which is doing a great job. So now we've got 4 medallions, and what we're going to do is we're just going to clean them up a little bit, and then we're going to cover them with saran wrap and lightly pound them. So this is a medallion. This would be a medallion thickness. So now we want to make cutlets because we're going to pan fry it. We want it a little thinner. So we're just going to pound them out. So we got our meat mallet here. Tenderize it. You can see how soft that muscle is already. All right, now jacquard, well, these needles right here, these will come through and make that nice and tender also. If you had a spice blend that you liked, you could put it in here, put it on the meat. This works great for Wiener Schnitzel, wild pig, venison, goose, wild turkey. Again, less tender cut, but of course we wouldn't be using the thighs or the drums. You know what? Let's do this side too. All right, so now we've got our meat tenderized. Then we're going to set up what we call our standard breading procedure. So we have our meat, flour, egg wash, breadcrumbs, finished meat. And it doesn't matter if you're breading, zucchini or onion rings or apple, whatever it might be. You won't need those 5 slots to do that. We've got the product, the flour or cornstarch or powdered sugar, whatever it might be. Then the egg wash, and then the breadcrumbs. We're going to use panko breadcrumbs for this. No, this one is the Parmesan, so we're going to use Italian seasoned breadcrumbs for this. If you were doing turkey Wiener Schnitzel, you could do cornflake crumbs. It's nice and crunchy. So there's all different kinds of products. You can use walnuts. Take mashed potatoes, make a croquette out of mashed potatoes. Roll it in flour, egg wash, and then almonds or nuts. So there's all different kinds of things that you can use in this standard breading procedure. So now we're going to season this, and then we'll set up that standard breading procedure. We'll be right back. Now, we've got some salt and pepper. I'm going to season these here. I'm not going to season the flour, because if I season the flour, there's a chance that this meat doesn't get enough seasoning. I'm just going to put it over here in the flour. Take our cutting board out of here. Cutting board is on a wet paper towel to secure it in place so it doesn't slide around. And now we'll set up the standard breading procedure. Flour, egg wash, meat. So the meat would be in the original pan, but I'm cheating. Okay, so how we do this is we want, number one, whatever we coat, if it's apples in powdered sugar, or if we're dredging something in cornstarch, we want the item to be totally dredged properly, so we don't have a spot like that. You want the flour or the cornstarch or the powdered sugar makes the egg batter stick to it, and then that's the egg batter makes the breadcrumbs stick to it. So, tempura, beer batters, the most important thing on the standard breading procedure is we get that totally dredged in flour, and then we knock the excess off. Because I'm going to give you, I'll do it right first, and then I'll do it wrong to show you what the difference is. So we're going to take this, we put it in the egg wash, and we want that to be totally coated with egg. So you see that right there? If I go like this and then it comes up dry, well, that means that there's no egg there for this to adhere to. So we put that on there. And it's totally stuck, it's totally coated. You could, if you wanted to, you could double coat. So go back into the egg wash, then into the breadcrumbs. So now let's do one that's not done right, just so you can see why. So there, if we touch this now, that you see how that turns dry? There's no egg wash. It's sticking to this, adherent to that. See that how it just, the egg wash rolls off because the flour wasn't shaken off. So you need to get all that flour, excess flour, shaken off before it goes into the breadcrumbs. I like to dab it a little bit so I don't get these what we call rat tails in the breadcrumbs, because then you get nice big lumps, and it's like, well, the first one looked good, but by the time you get to the fifth one, you got lumps. So how do we do that? You just take a wire sieve or a colander and strain these breadcrumbs so that we don't have lumps in there. So same thing when we pan fry. We want to make sure that we only pan fry twice in the fat before we change it, or drain it and strain it. Strain the fat and use it over again. Because if you leave those floaties in there as it's cooking, after the second or third time, what happens is then the oil burns from those floaties, and those floaties stick to your third or fourth product, and then you don't have a good looking product. So we knock off the excess. Flour, we got this coated nice. Egg wash could be anything from straight up egg, egg and milk, egg and cream, egg and oil. And again, these coatings could be, flour or powdered sugar, and then into a batter, like a beer batter or a tempura. It doesn't always have to mean it would go from flour to batter rather than some type of crumb. But we're going to again pan fry. So now I'm going to move this out of here, wash my hands, and get ready to pan fry. Okay, we got our straight-sided pan. We want this sautoir or cast iron pan. We usually don't like to pan fry in this because this means action. And when we have action, then we can start a fire because we're really not after action. And so saute has a little bit of oil. Deep fry is totally submerged. So pan fry is just about halfway up the product. So on pan fry, the sauce is 99% of the time made over there in another pan. When we saute, the sauce is made in the pan from the fond in the pan. So the objective is to make the sauce from the brown stuff that's in the bottom of the pan and the meat smothered in sauce. This one, we usually have some type of coating or crust on it, so the oil is in there, so we have too much oil in order to make our sauce. So 99% of the time, the sauce is cooked over on the side somewhere else and served on the side. But there's always exceptions to the rule, and one of those exceptions would be our chicken fried steak. We would use that right there and then take that oil and, from sausage and or bacon, pour some of it out, throw our flour in there, and actually thicken the sauce right in there. And that's a pan fry. Okay, so when we do this, like if this was part of a turkey breast or a pheasant breast, the nice side down, so the outside of the pheasant breast goes down first. So the presentation side goes down first, kind of like pancakes. Whatever goes down first is the side that's going to be served up. So we lay it in there, and we want to watch that action. If there's no action there and you can't see it or hear it, we don't want to put it in there because it's going to absorb a lot of oil. And we don't want that crust to absorb all that fat. So we're getting action, and that's exactly what we're looking for. I'm not going to put another piece in there yet because I don't have as much action as I'd like to see. You can see it right there, and you can see that it's not swimming in oil. It's not totally, covered or submerged in oil. So now I can see the action. So now I'm going to lay this and try to lay it away from me so it doesn't splash up on myself. So now I can adjust the heat here. I like cast iron because cast iron will, ooh, look at that. Look how brown that is already. But it looks beautiful. Cast iron holds the heat much, much better. So that didn't take very long to brown. So I'm going to make sure I bring the heat back down a little bit. That's why I added that other piece. Now, if it browns too fast, just put it in a pan, throw it in the oven to finish the meat. We have to adapt to all of these things. So this piece, that's done. And I don't take it out and put it on a paper towel. You just put it into a pan. Some people put it on a rack. But we are going to finish this in the oven. So this one here, these are cooking fast. They're cooking good. Got a nice coating on there, nice crust on there. I'm going to throw them in the oven to finish, and I'm going to get all what might call my mise en place ready to finish this dish. So we got a nice coating on there. So looks good. So this is going to be venison parmesan, or elk parmesan. Again, pan frying technique where we ran it through the standard breading procedure, and a little bit more oil than saute, a lot less than deep fry. So I'm just going to shut the heat off. Now, what I mean by this is you can see the floaties in there. You can see all the crust that came from the breadcrumbs. So we set up a little colander with a wire sieve, and you pour the oil through there, and you can use the oil over again. You don't have to. You got to strain it though, but you can use this oil over again. But we don't want to cook another round in here because there'll be too much floaties and too much burnt in there, and it'll ruin the flavor of our product. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to set up our mise en place to finish this dish. So I'm just going to put this in the oven just because that meat browned faster and it's not totally done yet. And then we're going to set up our mise en place to serve. Okay, so what we're going to do now, normally I would put this on a plate, put some sauce on the plate, put the meat on the plate, sauce, some cheese, and then a salamander or a broiler to melt that cheese. We don't have that here. We got the oven up as high as it'll go. So I'm just going to, rather than put a plate in the oven, I'm just going to put some sauce here. That pan's nice and hot, obviously. And then we're going to come back in here and pick up our meat that was finishing in the oven. And we're just going to take that, put it on the sauce. Take this one, put it on the sauce. Just going to set this up on top for somebody to eat later tonight. Now, this is one of the few times that we ever sauce the top of something that's breaded. Because usually what that does is it usually makes it a little soggy. So now we have some mozzarella, and we're just going to put 2 nice pieces of mozzarella on there. And this would go in the salamander, broiler, or something that could melt that cheese and brown it really fast. We don't have that luxury here, so it's going in there as hot of an oven as we can make it. It's up to 500, and we're going to see how it goes. So while that cheese is melting, we're going to get ready for service. And service will be a squirt of some balsamic glaze, which you can make your own. We have recipes for that. So we're just going to take this basil and we're going to use this as a garnish. Let's see what we got coming out of the oven. Oh yeah, that's looking nice. Looking nice. All right. So remember that handle is hot, and we're going to sauce this up. I think I'll take a little bit of sauce. Where'd my spoon go? Oh, that's all right. Used every spoon in the house today. So this here is our elk parmesan. I'm going to take a little bit of balsamic glaze A little chiffonade of basil. And we're good to go. So venison Parmesan. So we used a less tender cut, and then we pounded it, we tenderized it, we floured it, ran it through the standard breading procedure with Italian flavored panko breadcrumbs. We pan fried it in nice hot oil, sauced it up, and into the oven it went just to melt that cheese. So I think it's time to taste one of these. So I'll plate this one up. Give it a shot here. Put what's left on this cutting board on there. And it's time to eat. Nice tender meat, cooked thoroughly. With our tomato and our cheese. A little balsamic on there. That is good. Venison Parmesan. Come eat with us with Outdoor Solutions from fieldtotable.com.